Mike, I know you were a police officer for 13 years and you investigated many cases of dissuading a witness. And as a defense lawyer, you've represented people accused of this crime. Can you tell me what is the legal definition in California of dissuading a witness?
It's any attempt by a person to cause a witness or a victim not to testify, or not to testify truthfully, or not to come to court. And what people get confused about when you think about dissuading a witness, it doesn't necessarily have to involve a force. Like someone doesn't have to come physically grab you and say, don't go to court, don't testify. It could be implied, it could be subtle. And it's a very serious offense, taken greatly looked at by prosecutors. They don't want witnesses to feel intimidated. Gang cases is a perfect example. They zealously prosecute dissuading witness cases and gang cases. They zealously prosecute any dissuading a witness case because of this inherent idea that we want people to be able to come to court and tell their story.
Well, I know that when we think of dissuading cases, we think of what you mentioned, using violence or threats, where let's say a gang member goes to a witness to a drive-by shooting and says, if you go to court, we're going to come kill you, we're going to kill your family. I mean, obviously that's a very serious crime. But what I'm wondering about is what you mentioned, the more subtle case. Let's say, for example, that I got arrested for domestic violence, and one of my neighbors witnessed the incident, and he gets subpoenaed to court. And I go talk to him, and I say, listen, if you go and you testify and I'm convicted, I mean, it's going to destroy my life. Is there any way that maybe you could be on vacation that week? I mean, is that a crime? I haven't threatened him. I'm just, merely suggesting that he not comply with a subpoena. Is that a crime itself, or is that something that's permissible?
It's most certainly, the district attorney will see that as a dissuading a witness case, that you have a witness to a matter, you've asked them not to go to court, you asked them to disobey a subpoena, you've asked them and told them, this could hurt me, please don't do this, even though you're not forcing them to do something, you're not threatening them to do something, you are really trying to dissuade them from coming to court. So yes, the short answer is that could be considered a crime.
What if it's really subtle? What if I don't suggest they don't come to court, but I just say, listen, I mean, I'm charged with this crime, it could destroy my career, your testimony or lack of testimony would make the difference in the case, just so you know how much it would hurt me if you were to come and show up for court and give that testimony, just so you know. They don't show up. I mean, is that ambiguous, or could that even be construed as a crime itself?
From my standpoint, as a criminal defense attorney, I would argue that that's not a crime. Okay, that's just a conversation between neighbors, and that's just a heartfelt conversation about what's going on in their person's life. Though certainly a zealot prosecutor who has a completely different hat than I'm wearing could even say subtly that is dissuading. And we should make this distinction. While dissuading a witness is a serious crime, it's also what we call a wobbler under California law, which means it can be filed as a felony or a misdemeanor. What you just described, you may see a filing for a misdemeanor dissuading a witness. I'm Mike Scaffidi, a retired police officer and now a criminal defense attorney with Schaus Law Group. If you or a loved one are in trouble and need help, call me.